Anytime, call me, call me, call me. Okay, what is up, guys? Welcome to another video. Hope that you guys are all doing fine. Well, in this video, we're going to break down all that is happening in DC. Apparently, the Supergirl teaser trailer is on its way out soon, so I'm very excited to talk about Supergirl. I'm not such a huge fan of Supergirl, but I do have some ideas of how DC can actually evolve this character, and I've seen glimpses of brilliance from James Gunn. I know it's shocking, I hate the dude, but even I have to admit that this looks a little bit interesting. All that and more in today's video, but do not forget to, of course, like, comment, and share because it helps us out in the glorious algorithm. Let's press play. Let's see what this man has to say. Can I get my earphones? Can I get my earphones working? Can I get my earphones working? Can I get my earphones working? I'm from the country. I'm from the country. Okay, let's see here. What do they have to say? The biggest liar on YouTube. Oh gosh.
The poster for Supergirl is officially here, along with the confirmation that our first trailer is dropping this week, specifically tomorrow. And we even know what film it's going to be attached to because they got to get the word out. So let's talk about this absolutely awesome poster. Well, here we are, and it is now officially confirmed that Supergirl will release the trailer tomorrow at some point. We don't really know when. It's expected to drop at any time between 6 a.m. and 12.
I really like the colors, I like the jacket, and I like her outfit actually. I think when it comes to James Gunn, what he's very, very good at is circling back to Guardians of the Galaxy. He knows that he's very, very good at that. So if he's recycling those ideas, that's great because people really loved Guardians of the Galaxy. And what I've seen, what I've noticed is that this looks like a Supergirl which is going to be traveling space.
Now, let's talk about the poster itself for a second. I absolutely love everything about it. You can tell just by looking at it, it's a different attitude and mentality. Obviously, we got the Superman/Supergirl logo, House of L, but you see that hers isn't clean. It's sort of like spray painted / airbrushed, and it's sort of like dripping, which I really like that aesthetic, showing us, you know, she's a lot more younger, more punk in nature, you know, sort of that type of thing. Then obviously you got the blue background, which again is completely different, and again it looks like this is all like graffiti. And then of course you have her with her jacket and her suit, which has gotten a change since Superman. This is a different suit. While you might not think so, the belt is different, the length of the skirt, the boots are somewhat different. The top looks mostly the same, but we never really got the best look at it, so we can't tell how the lines line up. And then, of course, we see her wearing glasses. Obviously, we know that she's probably hungover, so there we go. I absolutely love this poster.
What I would like to see from a Supergirl movie is what they did with Wonder Woman. I think they got the character of Wonder Woman so good because Wonder Woman was a very innocent person which comes out of very secluded community, right? And she comes into the world and she comes with these like very childlike eyes, and she believes in everybody, but she gets scarred by the way that the world is. But then we have Steve Trevor, which is scarred by the way that the world is and finds his innocence by hanging out with Diana. So I love it when you see two characters. One is morphing into what this character is, and the other one is morphing into what that character is. When you get that balance, my gosh, those are the best movies. Steve Trevor was a very cold individual. He had been at war for a long time, but he had a great heart, right? And Diana brought that out of him. So that element works, and you could literally just take that, copy and paste it.
So as they did with Superman, they are releasing a mini spot that is sort of a teaser for the teaser, if you will. And as we know from the Superman spot, they might feature scenes in this that aren't actually in the trailer. So obviously the first thing I want to talk about is this opening shot of Supergirl. Obviously she's standing in front of a wall with, some terrible paint and cracks in the wall, but it shows us the attitude, like I said, talking about the poster for the film.
I like this as well, and I like the soundtrack, which they actually were playing in the background.
So clearly music is going to be another thing that is more than likely a James Gunn push to incorporate in this because, he loves his selection of classic songs. The next shot we see is Supergirl walking out of some fog and clouds, and it looks like this might be sort of her entering into a battlefield, I would say. That's at least the vibe I get. Now, maybe I'm wrong on this, I don't know, but that's just sort of the vibe I'm getting from it.
You see, what is so weird about this is that we're recycling certain images, because I've seen this in the Superman movie as well. And I'm like, are you that lazy that you're going to recycle certain things? At least give us something new. So I do not like this image. I think it's very lazy, and it's just one of those things where too many callbacks. It's like, okay, buddy, we get it. Yes, you like that scene, or you like that image of when either Superman is coming out of the dust, or this scene where she is walking into the dust, or maybe walking out. I don't know what's going on here, but I think that this is just very lazy, and it's one of the reasons why I dislike James Gunn.
And you can see in the clip that she definitely walks with an attitude. It's not like Superman where he's trying to be imposing and sort of come off as, hey, I'm Superman, I'm gonna stop you. Like, she is going in there being like, yeah, what are you gonna do? I'm Supergirl. Speaking of that, if you know the comic and you saw the first production photo, we know that she's going to be hanging out at this intergalactic scum and villainy bar where bounty hunters tend to frequent. And clearly here is another shot of her, taking a drink. We know that she is into...
I'm getting a lot of Han Solo vibes from her. A lot of Han Solo vibes. So I think that that's what they're doing. They're trying to create a Star Wars-esque cinematic universe, and they need to. They really, really need to. And if they are, then that's visually going to be very interesting.
Beverages of the adult type. Sorry, I gotta talk around in circles because YouTube, but you get what I'm saying. And this then leads us into a very cool shot of her just flying with some extreme speed behind her, sort of doing like the, sonic boom, if you will, that leaves a cloud behind. And you can see it better on this shot. It's her just taking off into the atmosphere at incredible speeds. One can be led to assume this is probably her leaving Earth after the events of Superman. So I wonder if we see Clark early on, and then this is like picking up right after the events of the film. Then we got another shot here of her wearing white robes and looking different. She doesn't look like she has the same sort of hair that's messy and all over the place. And this shot is followed by another very interesting one, I would say.
I've seen her in one Netflix series, and I have to say that, yes, she's very, very good. I like her a lot. Do I like her as Supergirl? We have yet to see, because I feel like that is one of those very interesting castings, just like the Jesse Eisenberg casting. I thought was a bit weird in the beginning. Even the Ben Affleck casting was a bit weird for me in the beginning. I was not a fan of that casting. I was very, very nervous, and I was like, shit, does this guy actually know what he's doing? But when I saw it, I was convinced that that is Batman. So we have to see what she's going to come with. But I think that Millie has a rougher edge to her than David Cornsweet.
Shows us a bunch of people also in white robes carrying a coffin of sorts. Now, There's debate whether or not this is going to be based on the planet they're on and the villains, or whether or not this is like flashbacks to Krypton and exploring the history of Krypton, because we heard that that's an element of this film and that there's actual Krypton stuff here. So if that's the case, this is pretty cool. That is then followed by a shot of a couple of bounty hunters clearly showing up at the bar she's at. You can see they got, like, you know, their space laser pointed guns, and the laser pointers on them to point them at her, obviously. And we see here that, yeah, there's a lot of people after her. She's clearly wanted by somebody. We obviously have no idea who, but again, the jury's out, and this is probably when Lobo is going to make his appearance, because seeing some of the set photos and what they look like, I am assuming that this scene right here that I talked about previously is going to be that scene where we saw her and Lobo back.
I really hate the fact that Jason Momoa got his 10 pieces of silver in order to be in this cinematic universe. Because I'm just like, do you know how much money he made from Aquaman? Zack Snyder literally put him on. At least be loyal. At least do that. I just really dislike the fact that he did that. And he had to be in this cinematic universe. And it's just like, it's getting very, very messy. It is. But I don't know.